Hey everybody, I'm Milax, and in today's episode we will get a little bit spooky with a deep sea dive into the biggest and longest lasting Atlantean event of the year, Ebon Gate, or Ebon's Gate, depending on how old you are. Today's episode is a three-parter with an inside scoop from Dreadlord Wyrom himself about new developments on Caligos Isle and some exciting teasers, as well as some practical tips from raffle expert Rovvigen and the master angler Beldannon. So grab your favorite ghoul or goblin and get ready to worship some Gezresh, and welcome to the 8th episode of Town Square Central. I'd like to welcome the esteemed Wyrom back to the show today to talk with us about this year's Ebon Gate. So Wyrom, welcome back to Town Square Central, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I would love for you to start by talking with us a bit about the history of Ebon Gate. So how did this event get started, and how has it changed over the years since its inception?
Sure. So Ebon Gate's our longest running event. It's been running since the 90s. It's always been kind of a Halloween-y, carnival-like experience. And then in 2005, the event kind of got retired. It was a free event that year. It still ran in 2005, but like all the old grounds that kept getting rebuilt and reused kind of got retired. So then in 2006, that's when it kind of sparked the era of themed Ebon Gates. That's when Velfe, the haunted ghost town, started. And then when that storyline kind of ran up, which was about a 5-year timeline, it went to Fayrot, which was the creepy swamp carnival, and had a bunch of stuff going on for it. And then we just recently retired that one, and now we're at Caligos Isle, which is kind of this lost at sea culty area. And that's pretty much how it's evolved in recent years. I don't really know all of what went on when it first started and the years that led up to 2005. Just from a player perspective, I remember seeing how it was evolving slowly, and like new things kept getting added. There was jousting, and there's a lot of fun stuff back in the day.
Yeah, and I remember Ebon Gate being a thing when I played Gemstone a while ago, but I don't remember it being the kind of show-stopping, spectacular, month-long event that it is now. So when did that become sort of like the new normal for Ebon Gate?
So the schedule kind of started back in the day. It was just like a weekend event, and then it kind of moved to about a week event, and then it was about 10 days, and now we just debuted it with Caligos Isle as this month-long thing.
Yeah.
And it just kept growing and growing, and we wanted to fit pieces in, but we felt like the 10-day schedule didn't really work out very well for everything that Ebon Gate offers. So we try to break it down and offer as much as we can while separating the instances out, because we want to make sure that we give Platinum and Prime the same amount of attention.
Yeah, and so let's quickly run through this year's schedule. And it looks like, just to go over it, grounds open tonight. We're talking on October 1st. And the first week through the 6th is just storyline stuff, right?
Yes.
And then after that, there's 5 days from the 5th to the 10th of live games in Platte. And the shops open officially on the 7th through the end of the event.
Yep.
And then we've got from the 10th, that's when the games open, the mini games. And then the 12th through the 17th are live games, and then we have Merchant Week, kind of running concurrently with that for Platte, and then the last week, the 18th to the 25th, is Merchant Week for Prime.
Yeah, it's a pretty big schedule.
It is. So why is it built this way?
So for a long time, we had the event just open for like the week or the 10-day schedule in one instance, and then it would switch over to the next instance. And usually Platinum had it open twice as long. And the biggest problem we ran into was shopping, because when it was open, it was merchant time, so nobody had time to shop. So we wanted to make a change to that, and that's why we open the shops up early before everything, so people can get a feel for what's around, they can buy things. This year, most of our shops are actually going to be silver shops. There's a lot of confusion with the seashells mixed in with the silver. There'll still be some seashell shops.
Seashells by the seashore shops?
Yeah, see, you're good at it.
Yeah.
So they'll still exist, but they're not going to be as many as last year. And then same thing with the games. People wanted to play the games, but you had to make decisions to either go dig or go get something altered or go get something unlocked. And with the shops being open early, you get a feel for what might be there. So when a merchant comes to work for their shop, you might have already purchased those things. And then the storyline, so much effort gets put into the storyline every year. That was one of the reasons why we opened up Ebon Gate as kind of a free venue that anybody can go to, because we wanted people to experience the storyline in the creative areas and the grounds. So that's kind of why it's broken up the way it is.
Yeah, it seems smart to me to front load storyline stuff so that folks can explore without the pressure of feeling like they're missing out on something. Or, if they know that they need to build, if they've got a work schedule or something they need to work around, they can sort of target the time that they want off. Because a lot of people take time off of work for this, is what I've learned. That's awesome. I've actually never done Ebon Gate before, because I'm a teacher, and this is always a crazy time of year for me. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what all the hype is about.
Yeah, again, it's been our longest running event, so a lot of hype is here. I feel like Ebon Gate had more hype than Dusk Ruin. And then there's an expected experience with Ebon Gate, so a lot of people enjoy that. As for taking time off work, I did that for the Wave Dancer, so I completely understand how that can go.
Yeah, and to clarify, no judgment at all whatsoever for people who do that. I really wish that I had the ability to do that, because I definitely would.
Yeah, we appreciate that kind of dedication.
Yeah, and so folks are taking that time off for Merchant Week, and people just really want to give Gemstone their undivided attention while that part of this event is underway. So what is that, and why is it such a big deal to people?
So mostly during Merchant Week, it's just that first weekend's usually a blast of merchants, and there's really no downtime. Once one merchant's done, another merchant starts back up, and usually there's multiple merchants working at once. You have raffles going off and starting, and so I know a lot of people like to try to get as much as they can out of the service experience. That first weekend is definitely the time, if you can have it, to do it. And then the week it breaks up a little bit more, because a lot of our game masters work. So they're off doing their work week, and so they come back. But there's still stuff going on all week long. And it's one of the most favorite events to run on staff, too. Most people really enjoy coming to Ebon Gate and working at Ebon Gate, even on the staff side.
Yeah, so if you are looking to concentrate your time, that first weekend, the sort of 18th, 19th, 20th, are probably the days to target then.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's the time to definitely get your time in at Ebon Gate. If you can't choose any other time, or your schedule's hectic, or you got other things going on in October, but you still want to experience it, that's the weekend to be around.
Okay, and so let's get into the good stuff then. What can you tell us about this year's Ebon Gate run? What tantalizing information can you share with us ahead of launch, which is very, very imminent?
So one thing that we changed around a little bit were the feeders. It's been something that's been discussed for a long time. Last year, and even the years before that, but last year in particular, we ran through thousands of unique items, and they just take a lot of time for us to create. So we needed a new way to handle that aspect of Ebon Gate. And the feeders are broken up into 5 different feeders. I know players reference it between T1, which is no prize at all, to T6, which is our jackpot, but we call them common, uncommon, rare, very rare, ultra rare, and jackpots. So
That all you guys could come up with was like different flavors of rare? No, like epic or legendary?
I like epic and legendary. We do sometimes use it.
Okay.
But so that was one thing we switched around, and then we introduced the treasure trove, which was kind of something to take over the workload of how unique items are distributed. Because right now, if you go digging, you're going to find something, but you might not want that item. And you might have spent all week digging, and that might be your only item. So we wanted to kind of change it. But then if we put everything on a prize wall, it's really going to just be first come, first serve, and you might miss out on the item that you want. So that's how the trove kind of got introduced. And we tested it out at Dusk Ruin. We took everybody's feedback in. One of the things that we heard most was that tokens didn't feel like they were dropping enough. So we're going to make tokens common. There's going to be a lot of tokens. So you can pick and choose how you want to enter these raffles. And it's not going to be a really hard win to get a token. It's not going to be a T5 drop. So you're going to take that token and you're going to try to enter. It's still limited. So we have a buyback program with tokens where we'll buy it for 125 seashells. It's a relatively low amount, but we're going to be pushing out tons and tons of tokens this time. So that's one thing that changed. But jackpots are staying as is. And I think a lot of people were thinking that was changing. But the jackpot, the glowing box, that's going to still be intact for you to find through digging, deep sea diving, multi-games. Fishing, I believe we are taking out T5 and T6s because fishing has very specific stuff. And the drop rate for unique items for fishing was really low to begin with. So there's really just no point in keeping that around. We want to focus fishing on what it was. And there's a lot of unique stuff in there. You get prep phrases, or was it custom spells, messaging. I forget everything that's in there. And then you, of course, you get the egg that you can change into an RPA orb, or you can convert to Gezresh. Swole Eagle Jesus.
So sorry, that caught me off guard. So just to summarize that part, then you're still able to get jackpots through digging, but you're also going to be getting a ton of treasure trove tokens, which will be much more common than in Dusk Ruin, and you can use those to try to get the jackpot quality items through that system as well.
Yeah, well, it's going to be more like our T5, so it's a really big mix of items.
Okay.
It can be anything from a 3x a day spell item to maybe just a 5x sword with flares, but you'll get to choose what you want to enter.
Right.
The T5s in digging and multi-game and all that, they're still going to drop too. So you're going to get gem boxes. They're going to contain things like flare tokens. We're going to have some of the Simu coin items that we usually drop in there, like locker expansions and stuff. It's going to be a big mix of items in the trove, whereas in the T5 drops, they're going to be flare tokens and things of that nature. So it's not going to be very unique, but there's still going to be stuff that you'd look forward to.
Gotcha. And I know that one of the concerns from the last Dusk Ruin run with the Trove, which definitely felt like a better system to me, but one of the concerns that I heard from folks was that there would be people who would just sort of wait there and then just immediately jam, like put token in box or whatever the language was, and they just felt like they didn't really have a shot at actually getting the thing they wanted. Are there any steps that have been taken to address that, or what?
It's tough because we really can't do anything to combat scripted behaviors other than saying, hey, don't script.
Right.
Or we put policies in place that ban that kind of scripting. We are probably going to put more round time in so that somebody can't just spam get it in. But usually it wasn't that was the cause. It was 50 people waiting in the room and they all threw something in really quick.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out ways to solve that. It's just not a very easy thing to solve.
So we've got digging, we've got fishing, we've got the treasure trove. What else is going on with the games?
So we are also going to be introducing a new thing. It's going to cost seashells to get into. There's going to be a little bit of a storyline that's separate from the October 1st to 6th storyline. It's going to be something I'm running. You're going to discover this thing, and you're going to go there, and it's going to kind of be connected to something else. Trying to be as vague as I can.
Yeah, I know
but
you're really piquing my interest here. Continue.
But yeah, it's going to cost seashells to get into. There's going to be a new quest prize that's separate from the bracelet that's currently going out, and it's going to involve combat, and it should be pretty fun. I'm really hoping it's going to be fun anyway. And one of the prizes that we are going to introduce to this new thing is going to be fusion token, so you can actually go to the Fusion Shaman, which we're also bringing back to Ebon Gate. So that will be here, and that should be pretty fun, I hope. Or at least get some stuff worked on that people have been holding items for.
I have seen a lot of people asking about that, so I'm sure there will be some people excited by that news.
Yeah, and this thing won't require a games pass, so as long as you have seashells and you want to check it out, you can.
Okay. Do you have a working name for this thing, or do you want to keep it completely mysterious and in the dark?
Let's see. I mean, I guess I can call it what it is. It's the Arena of the Abyss.
Okay. That is a very Wyrom-y title right there, I've got to say. The Arena of the Abyss.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other new happenings or developments with mini games? Or just changes to Ebon Gate in general?
For the most part, I think we're keeping a lot of the games the same. I don't recall seeing anybody make a new game, but they're all kind of the same. So just different flavorings. I don't recall seeing anything new on that front, though. A lot of that is going to be the same. Like we worked a lot on the feeders and what to do about the item dilemma that we're experiencing. So that was where we put most of our work for mini games and stuff like that. We have the live games too. The live games are when we have some NPCs that do some of the fun things. I forget which ones we're doing this year. You'd think I'd be prepared for this, but I'm completely just winging it.
You're a little swamped. I know that I read that Ghoul was going to be up there, right?
Oh yeah, Ghoul. Yeah, that's taking place. We have like Pick Your Poison and Entrails Toss, those types of games that were live NPCs working on.
And I think I read somewhere there's an anagram game.
There is.
Okay.
There is.
Which feels intimidating, but also fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of fishhook stuff that goes on during this time too, right? For merchant work.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of ways. We got spinners, fish hooks, lists, raffles.
Yeah. If you show up, you're gonna get stuff worked on. So everyone should definitely come prepared to get some altars done.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to go to Ebon Gate and turn up empty-handed. And then one thing we introduced last year was the whole tear the pass at the very end. You get a lightning note. So even if you do come away from the event with nothing, at least you get a lightning note.
Right. Yeah. You're not going to leave completely empty-handed, right?
Yeah. But most people walk away with something. Some people walk away with a lot more than others, just the way it works.
Yeah, that's the nature of raffles. Are there any so a lot of folks have been asking for like what's going to be raffled and whatnot. Is there anything you can share with us about that? Any exciting stuff on the list?
That I don't have a whole lot of information on right now. A lot of GMs have a bunch of stuff. Like I was just looking at the lists of stuff that we're doing, the new scripts that were created. There's a lot of interesting stuff, but I'm not really sure how everybody is distributing those items. But there's just a lot of stuff going on this Ebon Gate.
Yeah, and then without putting you in a tough spot, because obviously you have a really amazing team who are all doing a lot of really amazing work. Is there anyone? Is there any new thing that you are particularly excited about getting rolled out at this Ebon Gate?
Well, outside the new activity, I think one of my favorite things that I saw were the bloodletting leeches. They're really cool.
Yeah.
The Whir puppies, it's just a monster script. Like I was looking at the code for that and I was like, wow, this is really a passion project.
Yeah.
people are going to like those.
Oh, I mean, I feel like already people are like giddy with excitement about that, and yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be, right? Like undead or ghostly puppies, like just great, just great. I would
Right.
I'd like two. Um, what are you personally most excited for about this event? Like it being over and you having some semblance of a life back, or
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the 31st. No,
yeah,
I like I said, I really like this project I'm working on. I hope people enjoy it. The quest prize that's going to be coming out of that, which I'm not going to talk about yet, is really interesting. It's out of the box. It's something we've never really done before. It it's either people are going to love it or hate it, but I really do think people are going to like it.
okay. Well, I'm excited to enter the arena of the abyss, which definitely sounds like a metal band name. So well done, well done.
Good, good.
Any other final thoughts on Ebon Gate and what you're hoping that folks get out of it?
Well, I hope people really get involved with the storyline. We put a lot of effort into it. It's really interesting. It's gonna, and plus this Ebon Gate is different between Prime and Platinum, so your interactions with the event really change the pace of what we're going to be doing, shaping what happens on Kalgos. And I really do hope people take advantage of it, since anybody can jump in and do things there.
That sounds an awful lot like the Keyleth Code right there. This idea of letting folks shape what's going on, which is great. You know, it's just good role playing advice, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, Wyrom, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. I know I'm incredibly excited for my first ever Ebon Gate, and I'm sure that other folks will be as well. And we will look forward to having you back on the show again soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me again.
Up next, we have the Elanthian fishing expert himself, Beldannon, to talk with us a bit about one of the better-known mini-games at Ebon Gate, which is the fishing mini-game. So, Beldannon, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
How does fishing work in general in Gemstone?
So you have to have a fishing rod, and of course you can pick any type of bait. They have there's a number of shops in each town that has bait that you can buy, or you can buy weights if you want to fish. There's 3 different areas you can fish. You can fish the surface, the middle, or the bottom. To get your fishing rod out, you can do raise, which will take it out the longest, wave, which is like medium level, and then push, which will just push it right off the dock. Then you just wait until you get a bite. It can be anywhere from 30 seconds to 15, 20 minutes.
Oh,
unless
really?
you're even gated.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, unless you're at Ebon Gate, and then it can take like hours, which is just a whole nother thing, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, so you just wait, and then when a fish comes on, you pull your rod, which sounds kind of funny, but
Yep.
that kind of like sets the hook. I normally wait, or actually what I've done lately is I weigh my rod, and when you weigh your rod, whatever your rod is, like if it's 2 pounds or 3 pounds, whatever the extra weight is on there, that's how much the fish weighs. So if it's a smaller fish, you just go ahead and just pull every 5 seconds or so. There is a round time each time that you pull your fishing rod, anywhere, usually about 5 to 10 seconds. On a bigger fish, I will wait about 5 or 6 seconds after the round time goes away, and then pull again, and then just rinse and repeat until you bring the fish in. If it's a big fish or you don't have a strong line, a lot of times it'll break your fishing rod. I've never really had issues with that until Ebon Gate. But it does happen to a lot of people, and that discourages people a lot of times. But if you keep working at it, usually you can get the hang of it.
And the different ways that you can cast, the raise, wave, or push, does that affect like what kind of fish you catch?
No, that's just how far out it goes. For the different kinds of fish, it's the where you fish, like on the surface, on the bottom, on the top. Or sorry, surface, bottom, or middle.
And then I know that they have different quality in terms of fishing lines, right? What does the quality do when it comes to your equipment?
The quality of the fishing line just means less likely to break when you are fishing, like if you have a bigger fish. Ebon Gate has some really strong line that they changed to make really strong. I still think it needs to be a little bit stronger. It still breaks anytime you're in the middle of the fishing thing at Ebon Gate. But for the most part, if you're fishing just at a house event, you're not going to have too much problems with any like huge fish. I think the biggest one I've caught at a house event is maybe like 18 or 19 pounds,
Okay.
which is big, but it's not going to break most lines if you do it right.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, so you get out there, you have your basic gear, you raise, wave, or push, you wait for a bite, and then you pull it in slowly or quickly depending on the size of the fish, and that's essentially it, right?
Essentially, although if you've had it in for a while and nothing's happened, you can pull it like once or twice, and just to bring it in a little closer. Sometimes it seems like it changes it up. I'm not 100% sure if it really changes it up. It's one of those things, when you don't really know how the code works
If you were not 100% sure, then I don't think anybody is 100% sure. But
probably not.
We'll go with what you think. Well, so at Ebon Gate, you can win prizes for fishing, right? You don't just get a fish. Like, you're winning
Correct.
something when you fish. So talk about
Yes.
what fishing is like at Ebon Gate specifically.
Ebon Gate fishing, you paid. It used to be 25, but now it's 50 seashells, and you get into the area, and you can be in there pretty much as long as you want or need. It can be anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour. Really, it can be frustrating sometimes. You'll see other people catch like 3-4 fish, and you haven't caught one, or if your line breaks and you have to do it again, then the time starts all over again, which is no fun. But when you catch a fish and you finally bring it in, you'll get taken up to the area outside where you pay the seashells, and then you have a knife where you cut or fillet your fish, and you have a chance to win a prize. It can be anywhere from something for deep sea diving to help with that. It can be a RPA orb, which you can use to either join the cult, as I call it, on the island, or you can use it as for 3. I think it's 3x RPA, and then you can get a tier 5 or a tier 6. Although with the changes this year, we're not exactly sure. I think you've done a podcast with Worm, so you may have a little bit of idea what's going on with that. But
I do have some idea.
But so up to this year, you would either have a chance to or you could get a spell prep, which spell preps. If you fished a lot, you had a lot of spell preps. I probably have 2 bags full of like 100 spell preps, so I probably have a couple hundred spell preps in my bag somewhere on lockers, and it gets a little annoying, but it's some of them are really neat, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, and then you also have a chance to get a tier 5 or tier 6 item, just like anyone digging or gaming or doing the deep sea dive.
Yeah, so you've got some opportunities to get. And I think that the spell preps you can only get through fishing, right? Like, those are not available elsewhere.
There were a few really special ones, I believe, that like for live games and other places, but for the most part, yes.
Okay.
I was gonna say, and if you are looking to start fishing, you want to probably get the twisted fiber rod, I believe it is, or column at Ebon Gate, and just get the. You can look at the lines and you can see which ones are the best, and just get the heaviest line or the strongest line. I think it's exceptional, maybe, if I remember right. Just because that's less chance of breaking. Being a warrior or having strength is helpful. They say survival is helpful too. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm still testing that some.
So if you are interested in fishing, get the best gear just because it's going to reduce the likelihood that you're going to be wasting your time doing something and then having your line break and having to start all over.
Correct. Yeah, you don't want to waste 30 minutes at inside there just fishing and then have your line break and have to do it all over again.
Yeah, no, I had no idea that the time investment was so high. So I'm actually really glad that I know that now.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it in 5 minutes. It's just it just doesn't happen that often.
Yeah. I'm sure that the first time I do it, it'll be like 2 hours, which is fine. Or I'll just like miss the fish being caught, and I'll just be sitting there.
It is fun to be in there if you're in a room with other people chatting and stuff, and that's happened quite a bit.
Yeah, so you're not like sitting in isolation, like in a quiet chamber, right?
Not usually. Although they did add an extra area for fishing this last year, a jetty area, and so sometimes you'll be by yourself, but for the most part, you're not.
Do you have any tips or general suggestions for folks who, perhaps like me, are interested in trying out fishing at Ebon Gate this year, but have never done it before and are not very experienced?
I would definitely fish the surface. That means either with the lure without a weight or just a bait without a weight, because the lighter fish are going to be up at the top. And if you don't have a lot of experience in it, you don't want to lose your fish. You're going to have a lot better luck if you keep it up top. The middle is very, very bad for that. You can get 50, 40, 45, 50-pound fish in the middle. And they normally, I would say 95% of this line, they break your line almost instantly. But if you stay on the top, you're not going to get near that high.
And does the size of the fish affect the prize that you receive at Ebon Gate?
No, there are 5 tiers of fish, but the prizes has nothing. We actually talked about this last year. We finally figured that out. I think that there is 5 tiers of fish. The eel is considered a tier 5 fish. I've never seen one, but they are caught. But it has nothing to do with that. It's a roll. When you cut the fillet or when you cut the fish, it's a roll on what you get, and that's what you get from your roll. Like if you roll whatever your RNG is. So if you don't have good RNG, you may not have fun. You may just get a spell prep. You could get a tier 5. You could get a tier 6, depending.
Yeah, well, it's always better to be lucky than good, right?
It seems that way, at least in this game.
I think in all games it's better to be lucky than good. Beldannon, thanks a lot for taking the time to share your fishing wisdom with us. I think you've probably saved me hours of heartache and hopefully helped some other folks out too. But thanks a lot. It was great having you on the show today.
And I will be at Ebon Gate fishing, so if people have questions or anything like that, I'm more than willing to help.
So just find him out on the jetty, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, thanks, Beldannon.
Thank you.
Up next, we have the raffle specialist from the town crier here to talk with us about how to survive one of the most exciting parts of Merchant Week during Ebon Gate, the raffles. So, Rovvigen, welcome to Town Square Central.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Your role with the town crier is that you are the raffle tracker, right?
I actually started out reporting on the storyline in Soulhaven probably about 2 years ago.
And so then how did you morph into the raffle work?
I was actually just sitting there one day and I noticed like 2 or 3 raffles that were popping up and a couple of people didn't know about it. I actually started it on my own. I was posting all the raffle information on the Players Corner website and just giving people the link. I did that probably for about a month and a half. Then with Town Crier already being the Soulhaven town guru, I just figured I would help Luxie out with just one of the projects that was on her back burner list. So I went ahead and started posting it on the Town Crier website, and that's when it became actually live on Town Crier.
What is that role like during Ebon Gate when there's this intense week-long rush of raffles that everyone is really excited about?
Honestly, it's a head rush. The first night when Merchant Week rolls up, it's insane because everyone's trying to get room numbers and get the details so they can run to the bank to withdraw a certain amount of silvers for the raffle, or if there's 2 raffles in the same room on the same table or on 2 different tables, they want to know how to buy it and all that. So honestly, about like 10 raffles dropped the first night within the first 5 minutes of Merchant Week starting. It's honestly insane. My husband, who plays Michaelmas, him and I are running around probably for about the first 30 minutes trying to feed it onto the website.
Yeah, so you're just running around from room to room trying to get as much information to as many people as fast as you can.
Exactly. Even though some of the raffles don't draw till like 2 days after the fact when they drop.
Yeah, well, everyone is really just excited to see what's there, right?
That's all it boils down to be honest, is just excited about the new and upcoming raffle or what's being released this year at the Ebon Gate. I know last year they had like 4 different new things that were released through the raffle system, actually.
Talk about the raffles at Ebon Gate. Like, how big a part of the experience are they for people?
Huge part of the experience. Everyone, like I said, runs to the bank constantly throughout Ebon Gate anyway for digging to buy shovels or whatever, but I think raffles take up a huge part of the Ebon Gate experience. People sitting in the room at a raffle like an hour before it draws, waiting for their possibility of their name to go off in headlights on their screen, and everyone cheer them on for winning the raffle. So I would say it's a big part of Ebon Gate for people.
I was looking at your list of everything on the Town Crier website that was won last year, and just to hit on a couple of those things, there were glamour tattoos, fully unlocked sprite and parasitic weapons, low and high steel weapons and armor. You had pets like hedgehogs and fishies and fully customized scripted outfits. I mean, just all this amazing stuff. Of all those things, what are you generally most excited to see at these raffles?
I like a lot of the fluff items that basically sit there and do nothing other than all the zest and verbs they have with them, like the hedgehogs. It's like the brand new thing that was released last year was the fishies, and how excited everyone was to get those to the tier 3 or tier 4 unlock so we can interact with a Dukin if they have one. So for me, it's the fluff items.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks love the mechanical stuff, but I guess the beauty of the raffles is that there's something to everybody. I think I counted this right. There were 98 items up on that list for last year. Do you know that number off the top of your head?
I believe I counted myself probably 2 weeks ago when Luxel asked me. I saw 91 raffles for the week.
I'm gonna go by your math because I feel like the raffle expert should be the person that makes that call.
When that raffle draws, especially after that long dreaded minute when everyone's sitting there waiting, wanting it just to draw, and when they finally see their name that they won a raffle, I know on my end when I win a raffle, I just get all excited and like I'm floored. I'm like, oh my god, did I just really win this?
Last year, I know there were dozens and dozens of raffles, 91 by your count, spread across an entire week at all hours of the day during Ebon Gate. How can folks keep track of everything that's happening with all these raffles?
They can always use the gstowncrier.com. We also have a new raffle system. It's actually the same website, but with this new system by a script, Tai Song, the player, right?
Yes.
He actually created the T-raffle script so we can track the raffles. But instead of all that screen scroll like you saw last year with all the 91 raffles or however many it was, it'll actually be easier for us to input the data and more convenient for the players to look at on the website because it'll be ordered by the latest and upcoming raffle that it's actually drawing. So instead of having a screen scroll all the way down to a Monday or whatever the current day is, you'll actually be able to see the earliest raffle that's going to be drawing very soon. Right now, I'm excited about it. It's the first time we're using it, and we're only going to be using it for like festivals and stuff like that. But I'm excited about it. It'll make the workload definitely less on us three this year that are going to be running around and keeping track of the raffles.
Do you have any other tips for folks to help them out with raffles during this event?
Like I said, go to the gstowncrier.com website and click on raffles. Other than that, also do not bring a note to a raffle table because you need actual silvers to enter a raffle for the ticket. And if there's the same type of table for two different raffles in the room, you could always just type buy ticket or buy ticket on second table or stand or whatever the two similar items are that two raffles are in the room. I know people get confused by that as well.
And I would imagine that probably like the best advice for people is look at the Town Crier's website, find the stuff you want, and buy the tickets ahead of time, and then actually show up for the raffle, right? Like I remember during Windfellow's retreat, there were a couple raffles I was really excited about, and I paid a decent amount to enter them, and then I just forgot. And then it was like the next day, and I was like, holy crap, I completely forgot about that amazing item that I paid $200K to get a ticket for, and I didn't even show up. So don't be like me.
Exactly.
And actually show up for your raffle.
Right. I've actually done that before, too.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I'm not the only one. That makes me feel a little better. Is there anything in particular that you personally are hoping to get out of Ebon Gate this year?
Honestly, no. I just go to Ebon Gate to enjoy the role-playing interactions with a couple of people I made friends with in game, or just helping the people out, lead the way to a certain shop, or maybe they're looking for a certain item. That's what makes me happy. I'm not looking for anything in particular.
A very wholesome answer from a very wholesome man. So, Rovvigen, thank you so much for helping out tonight and sharing your raffle wisdom with the masses. And I, of course, wish you the best of luck in entering those drawings yourself.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks to Rovvigen, Beldannon, and Wyrom for contributing to this episode today. Thanks also to Avician for helping me pick appropriately spooky music, and to Nadir for helping me work through some technical problems today. And finally, a very special thank you to the patrons who support this podcast and make it possible. In particular, Yafurup, Luktar, Lysel, the Town Crier, and Jesse. If you'd like to help support the show, check out the Patreon page linked in the episode notes. Patrons really do make this show possible for everybody, and they get inside information about how it's built and what I'm working on, and you can even weigh in and help shape and plan future content while I'm planning it. Becoming a patron costs as little as $2 a month, so check it out today. Okay, everybody, that's it for this week. Email gsivpodcast@gmail.com with any comments or feedback, and enjoy Ebon Gate. Start working on your excuses for missing work or opting out of family engagements now so that you can maintain at least some scrap of credibility and dignity. Catch you next time on Town Square Central.
Swole Eagle Jesus.